We have all heard of someone who has helped out in a big way, be it actors or musicians or people with money who somehow get their names put out all over social media. But then we have those people who fade more into the background, living their daily lives with not as much attention, who have made and are making big changes for people who need it most. Today we will share with you just a small list of ordinary people who made big changes in history. Tank Man. Although he was named as Wang Weiyin by a British tabloid, his name is still unsure. Tank Man was a 19-year-old Chinese student who was captured in the famous picture as the man who stood in front of a tank in Tiananmen Square in Beijing, June 5, 1989. The Tiananmen Square protests, also known as the June 4th incident, which held student-led demonstrations due to the death of Hu Yaoming, in a situation where a few thousand demonstrators were killed and thousands more were arrested. After over a month-long protest that was being held in Tiananmen Square, military entered the square and began a violent crackdown on pro-democracy protesters. Tank Man stood in front of the leading tank, blocking his path. At one point, Tank Man climbed onto the tank and spoke to whoever was inside. Rosa Parks. Also known as the mother of the civil rights movement, Rosa Parks fought for racial equality in Alabama, United States. In 1955, right before the Montgomery bus boycott took place, Rosa Parks was demanded by a city bus driver, James Blake, to give up her seat for a white man who was left standing after the whites-only section on the bus was filled up. It is believed that Rosa Parks was sitting in the whites-only section of the bus when she was actually sitting in the people of color section at the time of the incident. She refused to get up and moved to the back of the bus and was arrested. This sparked the Montgomery bus boycott to take place on December 5, 1955, with approximately 40,000 Black people, all of whom took the city bus daily to get to work, to boycott the system. Ryan White. Ryan was a teenager from Indiana, United States, who became the poster child for HIV and AIDS. Ryan contracted HIV from a contaminated blood transfusion and was diagnosed at the age of 13 with the condition. He was given 6 months to live, but ended up surviving for another 5 years, dying at the age of 18, 1 month before his high school graduation. Lack of education surrounding the theme of HIV and AIDS in the 1980s, and heavy discrimination from both parents and teachers of his school, Ryan was not allowed to attend his school after receiving his diagnosis. This made Ryan and his family fight for the right to education with respect. After trying to take the case to court, where the family was not to be heard until administration appeals had been resolved, an officer of the Indiana Department of Education ruled that the school must allow Ryan to re-enter and to attend school. The Ryan White Care Act, which was passed into legislation shortly after Ryan's death, is a program that provides services to people with HIV/AIDS, one of the largest AIDS programs in the United States. Malala Yousafzai. A now young woman who was then just a 15-year-old girl at the time she survived an assassination attempt when her school bus was stopped and attacked by the Taliban in Pakistan. In a place where it was not acceptable for women to go to school and get an education, Malala stood up for the rights of girls in her country and for safe education and independence, almost costing her her life. She went on to win the Nobel Peace Prize in 2014. The youngest person to do so at the age of 17. Lois Gibbs. Lois Gibbs is an environmental activist who helped to evacuate over 800 families after bringing public attention to the dangers and safety hazards of the land where they were located. Land that was built over years of dumping waste and toxic chemicals into the grounds, which ended up harming the health of hundreds of local residents. Because of the level of toxicity and waste dump where the residents lived, Many families were left with health issues and symptoms of high white blood cell count, as well as leukemia. At the time Lois began trying to bring attention to the situation, she was a housewife and mother who discovered that her 5-year-old son was attending a school on top of a 20,000-ton chemical dump, and with that she made the decision to start the Love Canal Homeowners Association, giving people within the community a voice and to make decisions about the environmental crisis. You do not have to be well known. You do not even need to dedicate yourself full-time to making a change. Every minute helps. Every try makes some type of gain. We all start from somewhere, and many of us start from less than that. Something that seems so little can make a big change for someone else. Who are some ordinary people that have made or are making big changes that you would like to see us talk about? Comment down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.